Okay, so you should be looking at a sheet like this now. If you're not, go back and watch the first video to get your data to this point. You should be in Google Sheets now, not in Excel. So there's a lot of data here. What we want to do first is just reduce this overwhelming amount of data. We do want to keep the GeoID just in case we ever wanted to map it. This gives a unique ID for every county. And the county name, we definitely want to know because it helps us make sense of the data. So after that, there's a column for total population in the county, then the plus or minus, total amount that's in poverty, the plus or minus, and then the percent in poverty, plus or minus. Then it goes into something else. So this would be everyone under 18 years, for example. I'm going to suggest that you just use these first 6 columns of numbers, and in fact, we're going to get rid of some of those. If you really are feeling confident with the spreadsheets and you want to grab a different set of 6 columns, for example, all children under the age of 5 or everyone of Hispanic ethnicity or whatever that may be, by all means go for that. But as a default, let's just use the first 6. And whatever you use, you're going to delete the rest. And this, watch very carefully. This is going to save you a lot of time. I'm going to click on the I. I want to get rid of everything in between here and the end of the spreadsheet. So the quickest way to do that, there is a lot of data here. I'm going to come down, click on this scroll bar. Now notice I've already clicked on I, which highlighted column I. I'm going to scroll all the way over. I'm going to hold down the Shift key and then left click on the ND. And that's going to select all of the data there in between column I and ND. Then I'm going to right click and just delete these columns. And that'll get me all the way back so I just have these 6 columns of data. In reality, we do want to keep the margin of error on the percent, but let's get rid of columns D and F also. So I'm going to start off with column F. I'm going to delete that. And then get rid of column D, delete that. Okay, and then I'm going to rename these here just so they're easier to see. And really good practice for clean data is you only want one row of column headers. You really want your data to start on row 2 just for compatibility with a lot of different programs. So I'm gonna change everything in row 2 and then get rid of row 1. So this is my total population. So I'll just put that, population. Next one is number in poverty. And then this is percent in poverty. And this is margin of error for percent poverty. That should work. There's some overflow there. What would be nice is if we could wrap it around just for some nice visual look here. So I'm going to click on 2, which is going to highlight that entire row, just like clicking on the column letter highlighted the entire column. And then I'm going to go to Format, Text Wrapping, Wrap. That'll make it look a little nicer. I'm also going to go up here to the Align and click Center. And while we're at it, let's do bold and let's also put in our cell border there. This makes it much cleaner. And then I'm going to click on the 1 and right click, get rid of that row. So this looks very good now. And I'm going to do one more thing that makes it nice to work with data sets. You may or may not have over a page worth of county, but I'm going to go to View, Freeze, One Row. That way, if I scroll up and down, I can still see what the column headers are. Now, if I have the total population and I have the number in poverty, I should actually be able to do a formula for percent in poverty. write the percent in poverty would just be the total number who are living in poverty divided by the total number of people living in the county. So I'm going to click on that. And then this formula, if you double click, left double click on that bottom right square there, it should carry down that formula so that for every row you're going to have this percent in poverty. And these numbers really should match up with these numbers here. They'll be the decimal version of this, so they'll be basically divided by 100. But they should match up exactly because that's how the Census Bureau calculated this column here. They had these two to begin with, then they created a formula. So I'm just going to call this percent in poverty 2. Then the next thing we want to do is some measures of center, but I'm going to do that in the next video.